What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 21, and yes, here we are, the new season, Millwall in the Premier League, and of course the board will want us to stay up this year. That's why they've given us a budget of £2.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, £2.2 million, and 10 grand on the wage budget. Hang on a minute, £2.2 million and 10, that's right, £2.2 million and 10 grand on a wage budget. That is what the board have given us to stay up in the Premier League with Millwall, with our squad. That's embarrassing. I cannot believe this. I mean, when I first came into the start of the season, I thought, well, maybe we'll get about 5, 6, 7 million. That's not too bad. We can bring in a few first team players. But no, £2.2 million. What the hell am I supposed to buy with that? That's just embarrassing. So, I mean, the worst thing about it is that we've only got 10 grand on the wage budget. That means we can't even, sign a load of loan players. We've got no money whatsoever. It's embarrassing. I think that the best we can do is probably sign one sort of first team player at the most, because I can't think of anyone really off the top of my head that we can go in for that will be young enough to progress through the series and also keep us up in the league, because we've got a terrible squad. And, well, one thing we did do during last year was pick up 3 players for pre-contracts. So we signed these players in January for next season. And I've got to be honest, I did some good deals, didn't I? Fabricio, this centre-back, is 77 overall, so he's now our best player. Edenilson is 74, so he's our joint second best player. 2 fantastic defenders there, brilliant business on those 2. And Junior Stanislas is better than I thought. He's 73 overall. I thought it'd be about 69, possibly 70 at a stretch. But no, 73 overall, 4-star skills. So, even though we haven't got any money to work with, I'm pretty pleased with the deals we did there. And as you can see, we've now gone up to a 3.5-star club. We were 3-star last year, now we're 3.5-star. But even so, you're looking down the squad, and yes, Edenilson and Fabricio are good players we brought in. Obviously, Stanislas will be on the bench because we've got Henry and Carrasco who are better. But even so, those are 3 good players. But you look at the squad and you think, we've barely got any players whatsoever. We've only got 4 reserve players, outside of the first 11 and the bench. We've got no players whatsoever. It's, we can't even sign a load of players because of our wage budget is so bad. So what I decided to do, as we have, I mean, not even £2 million really, because when you think about it, we've got to adjust that to make sure we can pay the wages of a good player. We've got about, just under £2 million, I'd say. And what I decided to do was adjust the wage budget real quick and try and sign a striker. Now, the reason being is because at the moment we've got 2 strikers in Keogh and Scott McDonald, and quite frankly, I don't rate either of them. Scott McDonald we sent out on loan last year because I didn't want him, and he was a new addition to the side by low mass. We couldn't sell him. And Keogh, he's just not really that good of a striker. He just really isn't. So at the end of the day, I feel we really need a striker that's going to score, 10, 15 goals a season. That's the most we could probably hope for, really. Probably 10 goals is a stretch anyway with our squad to try and keep us up in this division, because I got to be honest, 2.2 million, that's nowhere near enough. You need more than double that. You need at least 5 million in my opinion with this squad. And quite frankly, this is going to be, I've got to be honest, I'll be completely honest here, I think this will probably be my toughest task in a career mode series ever. So if anyone's watching this first episode of the new season and thinking, oh, it's going to be so boring, you've got no money to work with, without the same players and so on, I think this will actually probably be one of the most exciting seasons, because this is going to be one of the toughest seasons I'll ever have as a career mode player, no doubt about it. So we asked for a load of strikers there, and we also got a bid for Nyland, which we just rejected straight away and said, don't bother coming back to us because we're not going to sell our goalkeeper. And yeah, as you'll see here, all of the clubs we went in for said no, and it's not a real surprise because we don't have the money to match their valuation, basically. The valuation of the players are going to be about 3, 4, 5 million, and we just don't have that money, to spend, quite frankly. And, regardless of how many times we'll go back in for these players, Abel Hernandez was one of the first names I thought of, because this guy is an awesome striker, and he's playing in Serie B as well, so not Serie A but Serie B for Palermo. He's on huge wages though, 45 grand a week. I thought he'd be a good signing. Markovic as well at Benfica, but again, even he's on huge wages, 35 grand a week, and we started off with 10 grand a week, so I mean, even Danny Ings, who was a player I was looking at last year, we've actually got less of a chance to sign him this year because we've got less money. It's ridiculous. But we did manage to sign our youth star as well. Of course, last season we brought a scout future star from the catalogue. Again, probably got his name completely wrong, but I'd imagine it's something like Leao Gutierrez. He's pretty decent. He's 16 years old, 64 overall, 6'3", high aggression, which is always nice on a centre back, and yeah, pretty decent. I mean, he'll barely get played. He'll probably play in the cup games, but to be honest, I need as many players as possible, so I'm not going to loan him out because, you know, at the end of the day, we just have no players whatsoever. And then Mark Beavers has the cheek to come to us and say, "Will you give us a new contract?" And I was like, "Mate, we can't afford it," you know. So I obviously dismissed that email, but yeah, as you'll see here, like, just look at all these rejections in my email, man. Seriously, this is like when I'm applying for jobs. All I'm getting is rejections in my emails. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, you know, I can't see a way to sign any of these strikers really, because they're all going to be way above 1.7 million on evaluation. They're going to be 2 million minimum, and of course their wages are going to be higher than 10 grand. So we need to make sure we got enough to pay that, which we don't have. So quite frankly, I decided to go ahead and buy another Scout Future Star. I know I probably shouldn't abuse the catalogue all the time, but we kind of need as many players as possible, even if they're youth players. So we buy a Scout Future Star from the catalogue. Obviously, we can buy the financial takeover from the catalogue, but I'm not going to do it. The reason being is because it's A, too unrealistic, and B, I like this kind of challenge of having no money. So yeah, that's why I'm not going to buy the financial takeover. Maybe sometime down the series, but not in the second season. I think that's way too quick. But Johnny Russell, another striker of Derby, of course. Again, look at those wages, man. 35 grand a week. It's just ridiculous. And Richard Chaplow as well. We've got a transfer for him. He's 500 grand valuation. Middlesbrough came in with 400 grand, so I said up it to 500 grand, and we'll accept that deal. And as you'll see, they did actually go ahead and accept that counter offer. So it looks like Chaplow's going to Middlesbrough, which is fine because we don't really need him, and I need as much money as possible. So Chaplow can go, because our CM area is our strongest in terms of depth, so Chaplow can go. And Derby said for Johnny Russell, just forget it. And this striker, of course, we started our Ultimate Team series with this striker, and he was amazing. I was like, wow, imagine if we can get this guy in our team. But you'll see what happens in just a moment. And yeah, we're just trying to sign these players. There's quite a few good Chileans this year, quite a good few players that play for Chile in FIFA 14. So I was looking at some of those, and who knows, maybe we can pick one of those up. And obviously the thief of Espanyol, he's a pretty decent player, really fast player. I've seen this guy on my team. Charlie Austin from QPR, again, like, we went for like 20-25 strikers in this episode, but the chances were we just weren't going to get any of them, because we can barely afford to pay their wages with our season's budget, let alone actually pay the club for their services. So we're going for Charlie Austin. That's probably not going to happen. Cameron Jerome, pretty much same result here, as we ask Stoke if we can take him off their hands, but 25 grand a week, we can't afford that, can barely afford his valuation. So, you know, I was also trying to, you know, sell on a player with them, you know, like Bywater, who obviously I can't stand, and maybe Scott McDonald, because I don't need him. But then again, if we replace Scott McDonald with a new striker, we're still only going to have 2 strikers, because we just have Keogh and whatever new striker comes in. So Kim Ojo there, and also Troy Deeney of Watford, of course, a very decent striker we inquire about, and wait and see what Watford say there. But Atalanta wanted £15 million for Marco, the guy who we started our Ultimate Team series with. That's ridiculous. How am I supposed to afford that? And then obviously Espanyol wanted 7 million, and even that's less than half, but even more than half. But I can't afford that. It's ridiculous. And we asked for, I think it was like 1.8 million, just in the hope that Espanyol would for some reason say yes to it, but it's not going to happen. And I was getting increasingly frustrated with EA keep telling me to go and play Ultimate Team as well in the top and the bottom right is every single email. And Boyo from Genk though, they only wanted 4.5 million. And I thought, well, maybe we can counter that plus add a player, and they might just say yes to. So that deal was, you know, not a likely one, but still possible, just about. Unlike every other deal, which was just impossible to get hold of. But the other players we looked at here were Kim Ojo, and Genk came back to us and they said take him for 1.4 million. Now I sincerely hope, whilst Watford said 3.7 million, which we can't afford for Troy Deeney. Now I sincerely hope that I've got enough subscribers on this channel that will still subscribe to me and will be able to tell you a thing or two about Kim Ojo. So if you can leave a comment and tell me what club I signed Kim Ojo for in one of my previous career modes, please do so right now, because I would love to see if I've got any old subscribers that know about Kim Ojo. If you can remember this far back, tell me what team I signed Kim Ojo for, because it'll be amazing to see if I've still got some subscribers from back in the day. But anyway, Charlie Austin, we're not going to get him because QPR said no. And Richard Chaplow's gone to Middlesbrough, which is fine because we don't need him. And yeah, I mean, our CM's the best in terms of squad depth, so he can go. We'll get a bit more money to work with, which is good. And Boyo, Genk, they won't they won't let go of him, which is not a real surprise, to be honest. But we do what we can. We offer 2 million plus Bywater, and we'll see what they say. And we also had a transfer offer rejected for Phoebe, which is not a real surprise, and the same with Cameron Jerome. So for pretty much every single club we've gone in for, everyone has said no, apart from a couple that have said we'll consider it with a counter offer. One of those is of course Genk. As we look for Kim Ojo, they said we'll let you can have him for 1.3 million. So what I decided to do is offer 1 million, because I still believe we can get him for cheaper than 1.3. Hopefully 1 million, that'll be good, but we'll have to wait and see. And obviously Watford say no for Troy Deeney. Not a real surprise, so he's not going to be coming in. But KRC Genk did indeed accept a £1 million deal for Kim Ojo. And like I said, I'm not going to tell you what team it was, because I really want to see if I have any subscribers that remember when I signed Kim Ojo and for what team. But when we did have Kim Ojo, he was an animal. He was a real animal. I'm sure he's probably been downgraded or something, but even so, when we had Ojo, he was an animal. So hopefully he can be an animal again as we offer him a contract there. Only £7 a week as well, so that could be a really good deal for us if he turns out to be a good player. But we had 3 preseason friendlies. The first one we simulated, we beat Pescara by 2-1, which was great. As you see, Mboyo, KRC Genk, they wouldn't let go of Mboyo and Ojo, so they said no to that. But we did actually manage to sign Ojo, so finally we do get a signing. It is Kim Ojo, and again, if you remember what team we had Kim Ojo with, then please comment it right now, because I really want to know if I've got any subscribers that will subscribe to me back then. But yeah, we do get Kim Ojo. Now he's only 69 overall, which kind of sucks, because I was hoping for a little bit better than that. When we first picked up Ojo on this channel, he was 75, so he's gone down by 6 ratings, but he still has some decent stats. He's 6'4", he's got like 91 strength, 4-star weak foot, 3-star skills, you know, decent heading as well. So I don't think he's going to get us, more than 10 goals a season, but if he gets us a few goals in some big games, maybe some relegation 6-pointers, then maybe that £1 million will turn out to be a good investment. It's all we can afford, really. So we've signed a player, and hopefully he'll be okay for us. But we look for a Chilean centre midfielder and Will Hughes, and again, the offers, man, that they're saying we need to make, 8 million and £7.5 million. We can't afford that at all. So we're not going to go free with those players. We inquire about Tom Carroll, but I'd imagine the fee is going to be about the same as what those 2 clubs said. But Frimpong of Arsenal, we tried to get this guy last year, but we ended up declining it because we didn't have enough wages to pay him. But we inquire whether we can get him on loan or not. The reason being is because we've sold Chaplow, we've adjusted the budget, and this will be sort of more beneficial for us financially if we can get Frimpong, and I'm also pretty sure he's a couple ratings higher than Chaplow, so we'll wait and see what happens there. Our second preseason friendly was against Lazio. Once again, we simulated it. I don't normally simulate games, but I just wanted to speed through the first few preseason friendly games, and yeah, that was a draw, so that was okay. And our scout also returned, so our second scout, future star, he looks like this. He's an Italian, he's a right back, as it's shown in our youth squad monthly report here, although apparently he's a playmaker, so maybe he'll be what's the word I'm looking for here? A versatile player. But 78 to 94 potential. I'd imagine he'll stay in the youth squad all through the season, so we'll just leave him there, and hopefully he'll be okay for next season. But the board come to us and they say that they want us to avoid relegation. And I was like, well, to be honest, you're going to have to give us some money. So I did decide to request funds. I didn't do it straight away, but I did decide to request funds here. I asked for 5 million, because there's nothing wrong with 5 million, man. Getting promoted to the Premier League, we deserve some money. So we asked for 5 million, and the board don't even counter that. They just say no. The board just said, screw it, we're not giving you a single penny. And I was absolutely furious about that, because that's just so annoying, man. How are we supposed to stay in the Premier League if we've got no money? So the board say no to the fund request. That sucks, but well, at the end of the day, if we get relegated, it's their fault, put it that way. Anyway, transfer offer comes in for Danny Shitu here. It was Derby for 100 grand. We asked for 130 grand. I don't really want to sell Danny Shitu because I really like him, but he's 66 overall. He's starting to go down. He's in his 30s now, and yeah, he's only going to get worse. So we accept the deal. We counter offer the deal and wait and see what Derby say. But we also do get Emmanuel Frimpong here off Arsenal on loan. 69 overall, so he's one better than Chaplow, and yeah, to be honest, his stats are okay. He'll probably be our holding midfielder because Bailey's starting to decrease in terms of stats. He's getting on, whereas Frimpong is of course 22, so he'll start to improve. So yeah, we'll have Frimpong as our holding midfielder. He's got high aggression, decent strength, and some decent technical stats as well. So hopefully he'll be okay for us. and hopefully that will be a good loan signing. But again, like I said, I can't even rely on loan signings for loads of players this season, because we just don't have the money to pay the wages. But the third and final preseason friendly was against AC Milan here. I decided to play it because I didn't want to simulate all the games, and everyone complained that I didn't bother playing a single game. But to be honest, I really should have simulated, because I played absolutely terribly. We conceded in the first 12 minutes. AC Milan took the lead, and throughout the entire game, I couldn't get the ball off AC Milan. The best chance fell in the 90th minute. Scott McDonald ran through trying to equalise, but sadly he put the ball wide of the post, so my finishing was really poor there. But even so, it finished 1-0 to AC Milan. So out of 3 pre-season friendlies, we win 1, we draw 1, and we also lose 1 as well, and that loss was the one I controlled, which is hilarious. But oh well, there you go. Danny Shitu is on his way to Derby, it looks like, because they've matched a £130,000 counter offer, which is okay. And the board say, sorry, the assistant manager says that you should send Leao Gutierrez out on loan, but I was like, mate, have you seen our squad? We need to keep every single player. So Shitty's gone to Derby, and that's okay, because I didn't want to sell him, but at least we've got a little bit more money to work with now. Even if it's just a few more pennies, I'll have to take it. But anyway, Berahino and Ngu, these were 2 strikers I had on loan last year, and they were okay. Whenever they got on the side, they were okay. They were behind obviously Andy Keogh and Steve Morrison, but whenever they actually got into the side, they were okay. So I decided to see if I could pick them up plus sell Scott McDonald, because again, I'm just not a big fan, and you know, hopefully we'll be able to pick them up for relatively cheap, because they're actually valued around the same valuation as Scott McDonald. So I thought maybe, and Scott McDonald's also higher on the overall by 1 or 2. So I was thinking maybe the clubs will actually like to take Scott McDonald off our hands, plus just a tiny bit of money, and they'll be okay with that. But as you'll see here, the clubs aren't falling for it. They don't want Scott McDonald, and not a real surprise. But it's a bit of a shame. But it looks like we're probably not going to get either of those 2 strikers either. So we've got basically no money whatsoever, and barely any cover for any position. But Shane Lowry, Wigan wanted him for 525 grand. I said up it by 100 grand and a little bit more, so you can meet his valuation, plus an extra 25 grand. You can take him, because he is 69 overall. He is our best left back. I play him alone because I prefer him there. But if they can afford that, then they can have him, and we'll have a little bit more money to work with, which hopefully we'll probably look to try and bring in another defender on loan to cover for him, or I don't know, to be honest. I've never been in this situation. That's the most annoying thing about it. You know, I've never been in this situation where we've got like no money whatsoever. Okay, it's you know, 2 million. Okay, fair enough, a tiny bit of money, but in the Premier League with this squad, that's basically nothing. You know, I've never been in this situation before. Usually I've had my targets and I've been able to afford them, but now I've got no chance whatsoever. But West Brom and Liverpool rejected bids for Ngu and Berahino, and also Wigan accepted a counter offer for Shane Lowry, so he looks like he's on his way to the DW Stadium, and we just can't seem to get hold of Ngu or Berahino. We're going to keep trying, because we would like to get them on cover again, get them back for cover, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, sadly, and we'll have to look elsewhere, which is kind of frustrating, because I just don't know where to look, to be honest. I just don't know what to do. We're completely screwed at the moment. But yeah, the last thing you'll see is a transfer coming for Stephen Bywater, and I just said yes straight away. Didn't even look at the valuation, I just wanted to get rid of him. So Bywater looks like he's on his way, which is fantastic news for us. And also West Brom and Liverpool once again reject the deals for Berahino and Ngu, and we'll have to hopefully get them as well. We're just going to try as hard as we can. If we can't get them, then fine, but I'm just going to have to keep trying, and hopefully they will accept a low bid. But as always, guys, a big thank you for watching today's video. There'll be another episode of Career Mode up later, but if you have enjoyed today's video, please leave a like. That's much appreciated. It really does help my channel out. And yeah, I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode later on this evening.